So I'm assuming that our conversation was solely about him making donations.
This work.
So I will call him tomorrow.
All
And
right,
find out.
I haven't done
And
any
the
of
truth
that.
is,
Hello?
email address
That's,
from us.
if he's eager, I'm happy.
This work session,
Yeah.
regular meeting of the Township Council is called to order. In accordance with Section 5, the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, be advised that adequate notice of this work session, regular meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, was made by the posting on the bulletin board in the municipal complex and transmitted to the officially designated newspapers, a list of dates annually indicating that this work session regular meeting will take place at the Franklin Township Municipal Complex at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, April 28th, 2015. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation, which will be given by Deputy Mayor Francois.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May those assembled here today enjoy the many offerings of our township. May we abide by the rules we have established, those of trust, fellowship, and ethics. And may we place service above ourselves in our daily endeavors. And may we always test ourselves in our efforts to be sure they are the truth, good for all concerned, of benefit to mankind, and provide peace and understanding. Let us all continue to strive to make a better world. Amen.
Amen.
Ms. Woodbury, please call the roll.
Councilman Chase,
Here.
Deputy Mayor Francois.
Here.
Mayor Kelly,
Here.
Councilman Kramer,
Here.
Councilman Prasad,
Here.
Councilman Regan,
Here.
Councilwoman Sherman,
Here.
Councilman Vasanella.
Here.
Councilman Wright.
We are up to the commendations and proclamations portion. If anybody is following along or you'd like to, there are copies of the agenda up over on the table over there.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming out tonight. I'll make it brief, but I would just like to, as all of you know, it was all over the news. We had a residential fire in the Township of Franklin, and when the 911 call was made, due to the swift action and courage of some of our officers, they were able to save a woman who was trapped in the house. The officers, with no regard for their own safety, went into a burning house. Some had to crawl. They had to break out windows, and they were able to get the woman to safety. And she's alive today due to their swift actions. I'm sure all of you know the environment that police officers have to work in lately in some other cities here in America. And me as the chief, the biggest thank you could give me is the professionalism that's displayed in that building every day. What those officers did, they had no regard for their own safety. They came to work that night. They didn't know what they were going to go into. They went into the house, didn't think about their families, didn't think about their own safety, and there's one word I could use: courage. And they showed courage in saving that woman. And I know the deputy chief feels the same way, not because I'm the chief, but I know I have the best police department in the state of New Jersey, and that's an example. That's one example of what heroism and courage is all about. Every day, not just those officers, they go to work, they put their lives on the line, they put that uniform on, and they treat the the citizens of this town with respect, and they show professionalism at all times. And that's just one example of it. To all the officers involved, I'm very proud of you, and there's no other words I could use but a job well done. Thank you.
Well done, gentlemen. Okay. Here we go. It's hard to top what the chief just said, but he and I spoke the day after this happened, and I wanted to tell him that I'm so proud and happy, and I know the rest of the council and the whole town is, that all of you and the rest of the force keeps us in the news for good things as opposed to other police departments around the country right now. So deepest gratitude to all of you. And here we go. Whereas Franklin Township police officers Deo Swartz, Stephen Elmeyer, Brian Quigley, Walter Skrabowski, and Nicholas Gambino demonstrated great bravery and quick thinking through their rescue of Maria Santiago, who was trapped in her burning home on Spruce Street on April 15, 2015. And whereas, while at first heavy smoke and flames hindered the officers from entering and locating Maria, they did locate her and bring her out to safety, where she was treated by emergency personnel released at the scene. And whereas Officers Swartz, Elmeyer, Quigley, Skrabowski, and Gambino's tireless efforts to protect the people of Franklin Township are an inspiration, and by acting quickly to rescue Maria Santiago, serve as models of bravery for all citizens of Franklin Township. And now, therefore, we, Kimberly Francois, Deputy Mayor, and I, Christopher Kelly, Mayor of Franklin Township, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, on behalf of the Township Council, do hereby recognize with great respect and gratitude Police Officers Deo Swartz, Stephen Elmeyer, Brian Quigley, Walter Skrabowski, and Nicholas Gambino for saving the life of Maria Santiago and for their courage, service, and steadfast commitment to public safety.
Don't we have the best police department in the whole wide world? Don't we? We love our police. We love our police officers here in Franklin Township. We do not have a Baltimore, Maryland. We do not have a Ferguson. I don't think we ever will. They go above and beyond the call of duty like no other police department in the state, the whole United States, and we just love them, and we want to thank them for their service. They're not firemen, but they are here to protect and to serve, and they take their job very, very seriously. And I wanted to have our Councilman Wright come up, because he was there and he saw everything. So I would like for him to come up and say a few words of what he saw.
A few words would be, we were all standing by the fence, and I just happened to be going home when I noticed fire trucks. So I parked my car, I came over, and all these guys were standing up in there, and I think there was a sergeant there too. And I said, wait a minute, what happened? And then he says, well, the lady was in the house, and she went to the back, and we had to go in the back of the house to get her, and they were all hyped up. And I said to myself, this must have been a real bad fire, because I didn't know anybody was in the building until these gentlemen told me. And at that moment, we stood there, we started talking, and I said to myself, this is the stuff that we need here in Franklin Township. Our deputy at large, and our mayor, they both said it, and I'll say it again, to protect and serve. And I think it's on the side of the car. Okay? So what I would like is you guys come on up, say something, represent something, because this is your day.
All right, don't worry. I'm going to make him talk.
All right, just want to say thank you for this honor. It's been a privilege to serve with Franklin Township. I know I've been here for over 8 years. Walter, 8 years. Some of these guys, kind of new. We love it here. You guys have always been great. The citizens of Franklin have always supported us through everything, through the bad times and the good. So, thank you very much. This is a privilege. It really is. Thank you.
All right, since none of them want to talk, I'll say a couple more words. I know they would all want to say this because it comes from the heart. First of all, give a round of applause to all their families. All of them, at the end of the day, the idea is you put that uniform on and you want to go home safe. And that's the most important thing. They saved the woman and they all went home safe to their families. Thank you, ma'am. So that's the most important thing. And I would like to personally thank the governing body, the mayor and the whole council and the township manager, because right away, they all called right away and they all wanted to make sure that the officers were recognized, because it's about them. Myself and the deputy chief run the police department, but it's about them. They're the ones that went out there and did it. We don't go out there and do it. They went, they did the job, and they did it, in a professional manner, and that woman's alive today because of them. So thank you.
It's the photo op time. Get the photo. Get the photo op going. No. I'm in the photo op. Everybody done?
I'm doing okay.
Nice job.
You're going to one?
Nice job.
Thank you.
I will be there.
Next one is Franklin High School.
Yeah, it's about as corny as you can get. Nice going. Nice going.
Oh, you saw my TV?
Channel 6 is eyewitness stories. But you're tragedy. It's kind of weird. You're sitting there, a tragedy, but it's bright side.
Yeah, they did a great thing. Just to let you know, both of these require a certificate of insurance. Joyce is checking with the insurance company to see what it costs.
Okay, we going
It's not expensive, we should ask for it.
Girl.
But they have to just name us. Well, and if it doesn't.
We're moving down the list. We're skipping the basketball awards because they are unavailable this evening. And we are going over to National Preeclampsia Month. Whereas preeclampsia, including HELP syndrome and eclampsia, is a dangerous condition of pregnancy that can, in its severest form, lead to maternal and/or infant mortality or premature birth, with significant health risks for the mother and baby. And whereas as many as 320,000 cases of preeclampsia are diagnosed in America every year, with approximately 25% resulting in severe, life-threatening consequences to a pregnant woman and her baby. And whereas public education as to the signs and symptoms of preeclampsia, HELP syndrome, and eclampsia can help women recognize the condition and seek appropriate medical care. And whereas prenatal education should include recognition of those signs and symptoms, spike in maternal blood pressure, sudden swelling of face and hands, severe upper abdominal pain, blurred vision, persistent headaches, breathlessness, and whereas many citizens of the Township of Franklin, State of New Jersey, have joined with the Preeclampsia Foundation to raise public awareness in order to minimize maternal and infant illness and death due to preeclampsia. Now, therefore, I, Christopher Kelly, Mayor of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, on behalf of the Township Council, do hereby declare the month of May 2015 as Preeclampsia Awareness Month in the Township of Franklin, State of New Jersey. By this action, let it be known that we support the Preeclampsia Foundation's efforts to reduce maternal and infant illness and mortality due to preeclampsia-related hypertensive disorders of pregnancy. That's quite a mouthful. But we do have someone here to speak on behalf, so.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Preeclampsia is a cause that affects 1 to 12 women in the United States of America. Preeclampsia is very near and dear to my heart. 2 years ago, I was diagnosed with preeclampsia and HELLP syndrome and lost my firstborn daughter 2 days after birth. Thank you very much for supporting us. And as a resident of Somerset, my family and I will be the 2015 Mission Family, where we will be sharing our story with the public on Sunday, May 17th in Cranford at the Oak Ridge Park. Again, Mayor Kelly, thank you so much for supporting us, and I hope to see some of you there. Thank you.
Ted is in the bullpen, right? You're next. I said Ted is in the bullpen. You're next, right? The preservation. Yeah, okay, whatever.
Oh, good. I think all goes pretty fast, I think.
You're the fill-in. Okay. The next, Franklin is very proactive in historic preservation, so here is a proclamation for our efforts. Whereas historic preservation is relevant for communities across the nation, both urban and rural, and for Americans of all ages, all walks of life, and all ethnic backgrounds. And whereas it is important to celebrate the role of history in our lives and the contributions made by dedicated individuals in helping to preserve the tangible aspects of the heritage that has shaped us as a people. And whereas historic preservation is an effective tool for managing growth and sustainable development, revitalizing neighborhoods, fostering local pride, and maintaining community character while enhancing livability. And whereas Franklin Township has recognized the importance of preserving its rich history and heritage, and has forwarded the goals of historic preservation by establishing local historic districts, a historic preservation commission, and trust funds that support local historic preservation, by seeking certified local government recognition, by obtaining preservation grants and other assistance, by acquiring historic properties and easements on important historic resources, by sharing preservation techniques for historic homeowners, by implementing redevelopment plans for historic areas, by successfully nominating districts to the state and national register of historic places, by developing an eco-heritage tourism programming, and by working with various organizations to help preserve important elements of its heritage. Now therefore, I, Christopher Kelly, together with my fellow council members, do proclaim May 2015 as National Preservation Month, and call upon the people of Franklin Township to join their fellow citizens across the United States in recognizing and participating in this special observance.
Make it very quick. Thank you, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, council members, and we've done a lot of historic upkeeping and purchasing of property and homes just to keep the history, the rich history of Franklin Township. And I want to thank everybody and the council again and the mayor for the proclamation. Thank you.
Okay. Convoy? बोलेंगे आप आप पकड़ नहीं उन्हें इसमें प्रोक्लेमेशन पढ़ना है ओके अरे आप पकड़ लीजिए Okay. We're glad to have some very revered people here. The head monk of our temple, and people don't realize that Franklin Township has the largest Buddha in the West, and not only the largest, but also the tallest Buddha in the Western Hemisphere, and it is on Route 27, and it is the Buddhist Vihara temple, and the head monk of that temple is here and has graced the occasion here for the proclamation. So Venerable Sri Ratna is here, the head monk, and then in addition to that we have Dr. Vijay Kodachuli, and he is also part of the temple, and we have the head of the Somerset County Diversity Council, Tulsi Maharjan, who is from Nepal, and we, of course, pray for the safety of his fellow countrymen and his family. And in addition, we have a elder amongst the Asian community, Mr. Chandrakant Desai, Dr. Desai, and so, you know, they all would like to say a few words. I'll read the proclamation and then invite them to say a few words, and they have certain events planned that they would like to invite you all to come to and, you know, participate. So the proclamation reads, whereas on May 3rd, 2015, Buddhists around the world will celebrate the birthday of the Lord Buddha. And whereas Buddha's birthday is traditionally celebrated on the full moon day of the Vaisakha month of the Buddhist and Hindu calendar, which is a lunar calendar, and which usually falls in April or May of the Western Gregorian calendar. And on this day, Buddhists remember the life and teachings of Lord Buddha, and therefore be it resolved that we, Rajiv Prasad, Councilman, and Christopher Kelly, Mayor of the Township of Franklin, on behalf of the entire Township Council, do hereby proclaim May 3rd, 2015, as Buddha's birthday, and urge all in the community to unite and learn of Buddha's message of inner happiness and universal peace. So I give this proclamation to Sri Ratna, and if you would kindly say a few words.
Mr. Mayor, Deputy Mayor, members of the council, as Rajiv Prasad mentioned, myself and Venerable Sri Ratana, the head monk, and of course Tulsi, we represent the Buddha, the Buddhist temple in Route 27 here in Franklin. He referred to that we have the largest Samadhi Buddha statue in the Western world there, which was sculpted about 5 years ago. Buddha's birthday actually is, as he mentioned, is on the 3rd, celebrated worldwide. And we are celebrating here at the temple on the May the 2nd. And it's a public event to which we are inviting everybody who would like to participate in that ceremony. Here I'd like to thank Councilman Rajiv Prasad and for this proclamation, and the mayor and the council for adopting it. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. Well, I guess 25 years ago when I came to Somerset County, I used to have to drive 2 hours to go to Buddhist temple. And our community has become a microcosm of 21st century. When you look around, especially in the Franklin Township, we got everything here. And we are, we should be all proud, a citizen of Franklin Township, because we have, from West Africa to Nepal, all in one place. And on May 9th, we are celebrating our 5th annual International Peace Day. And I would like to invite all of you to be part of this special ceremony. As this councilman said, Buddha is a Buddhist philosophy, way of life, how we live our life. He taught us how to live life. It's not about a religion. So I hope some of you will be able to come and participate in the event. There will be free lunch, and actually 15 different organizations will be sponsoring this event. This is a part of our annual interfaith program. And the Diversity Coalition has sponsored many international events here in Somerset, in Franklin Township. So any one of you like to, work with us in terms of having a special event, we'll be happy to sponsor. So once again, I want to thank the council and the mayor for adopting this resolution. And, we can be proudly say we live in a Somerset County where diversity exists, and we are all brothers and sisters. Thank you again.
Mr. Chandrakant Desai is also the president of the Indo-American Poetry Society, Literary Academy, I'm sorry. And he will read some few poems, teachings of Lord Buddha. So please, Mr. Desai.
Honorable Mayor, honorable council members, ladies and gentlemen, the message of Buddha is very well known to the entire world. That is for the peace, non-violence, truth, and love for the entire world. I don't have to much say about it, but I will read some teachings of Lord Buddha. There is nothing sweeter than practice of truth. It has the sweetest taste and gives the greatest joy. It will end suffering. Courtesy is most precious. Beauty without courtesy is like a garden without flowers. A real gift is one for which nothing is required in return. There is no justification for harming any living being. If you do not hurt anything or anyone, you will be held in high esteem. It is good to be loving child to your parents. It is good to be a renunciant. It is good to be virtuous in old age. It is good to be held in a high esteem. But to achieve lasting joy, it is good to become enlightened. Lord Buddha says again a few things. Everything must grow old. Work upon your own salvation with haste. Don't waste time. There are those who see wrong where there is wrong, and right where there is right. They are following the right path to the greatest happiness. if you are in a position of power, if you are in a position of power over others, be very gentle with them. Bad actions will always cause great suffering to those who create them. Then lastly, just the message what I have is a meditation leads you to wisdom. No meditation leaves you where you are. Make up your own mind where you would rather be. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Desai. And just wanted to recognize Dr. Chase, the first ward councilman, in whose ward is this largest Buddha on Route 27. So thank you and for all your help, and thank you for a great acknowledgement and celebration. May 9th. I'll be here.
Your turn.
Okay. Hello and welcome to all the Sierra Leone residents from the community and beyond, perhaps, and everyone else here. We're acknowledging the independence. I'm seeing the 54th anniversary of the independence of Sierra Leone. It seems like just a few months ago, we celebrated the 50th. That was quite a spectacular celebration. They all are every year. That one stands out in my mind, as sure it does with the Sierra Leone community and the rest of Franklin. So I'm going to read a quick proclamation here that acknowledges the Sierra Leone, the independence and the contributions to the community of Franklin and beyond. And then there's some other recognitions, commendations relevant to some soccer tournaments and other aspects of the celebration of the independence. Just bear with me a moment. Okay, whereas the 54th anniversary of the independence of the Republic of Sierra Leone in West Africa was celebrated by citizens and friends of Sierra Leone and communities all over the world on April 27, 2015. Whereas many local Sierra Leone organizations and individuals are dedicated to the principles of civic, economic, and educational programs within the Township of Franklin and are dedicated to encouraging reflection on the rich history and teachings of African Americans and bearing witness to the progress, beauty, and achievements they have made throughout our community. And whereas the mayor and council of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, New Jersey, and all citizens of the township wish to acknowledge and acclaim the contributions of our Sierra Leone community to the life of our community. Now, therefore, I, Councilman James Vasanel, on behalf of Mayor Christopher Kelly and the entire Township Council of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, do hereby proclaim Sierra Leone Day, April 27, 2015, in the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey. Congratulations.
In conjunction with that, could I call up Mr. Alarazim, Mr. Conte, Mr. Manzare, Fodi Manzare, and Ms. Nabi? Mr. Alarazim? So in conjunction with the Independence Day celebration, there was a soccer tournament held here in Franklin. And the important thing to know is that's a warm-up for for what's coming in the first weekend of September. There's going to be 16 states represented in a soccer tournament here in Franklin. That's the kind of thing we want. It brings our community to the forefront of several communities around the country, but it also brings in people spending money going to restaurants and spending money at hotels, and that all flows into township coffers. It flows into business. It's good for the town, and it's good for the town, the community. I wish more people from outside of the Sierra Leone community were at this soccer tournament. Perhaps at the one that's going to occur in September, there'll be even more. And some of the community can join in and see some of these games. It just, again, highlights the rich diversity of Franklin. So if I may read the proclamation, this is a commendation the Township of Franklin recognizes and commends Mr. Lamin Al-Razim, Mr. Joseph Conti, Mr. Fodi Manzare, and Ms. Khadija Nabi on the occasion of the Sierra Leone 54th Independence Day anniversary, April 27, 2015, whereas the above named hosted a successful soccer tournament of the Shooting Stars Soccer Club of Franklin at Franklin High School Stadium on Sunday, April 25, 2015. Now, therefore, I, Philip Kramer, on behalf of Mayor Christopher Kelly and the Township Council of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, and State of New Jersey, do hereby thank and commend the above named for their contribution to the promotion of community development and the furtherance of culture, diversity, and initiatives. Before I, well, go ahead. Congratulate them. We'll let them come up and speak, but there's one other person I have to mention, and that's our township manager. There were a number of obstacles to overcome to get this to happen, and he stepped right in there, and he knew the importance of this, so I would like to thank him as well. This is the general proclamation. Ms. Joseph, go ahead.
Thank you.
Go ahead, say something.
Mr. Mayor, members of the Franklin Township Council, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, fellow Sierra Leonean, happy anniversary, 54th anniversary.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. In acceptance of this recognition, I must first give thanks and praises to Him, the Almighty, for His endless blessing, for making the impossible possible. I must say a big thank you to the entire Sierra Star Club for trusting and believing in my dream. A very special thanks to the team manager, Mr. Joseph Conte, who has been putting hard work and commitment to see Sierra Star grow, and to his two skillful and tactical coaches, Mr. Tunis and Mr. Usman Tolo. I love and appreciate your system and approach you're using. To the councilman, Mr. Kramer, once again, I salute you, sir, for your continual support to the Salone communities, and to all the dignitaries present here. I salute you all and say a big thank you. To my mentor, whom I admire and own maximum respect for, Mr. Fode Mansouri, I respect you, sir. It would have been unfair if this individual go unrecognized again today, as he has been putting endless effort and dedication in our community, especially within the Sierra Leonean community. Words would not be enough to describe Mr. Mansouri, because he is hardworking, reliable, with a golden heart, and one that can be depended on. He believes in youth and has confidence in their dreams. And to his wife, Mrs. Patricia Mansouri, whom at all times opened their home to us in countless occasions with great hospitality as we prepared for this all-important tournament. To my mother, she never ran through the corridor of Cambridge University, but happens to be the best instructor. She did not earn the title of a medical doctor, but as well served as my lifetime physician. Even at her worst, she stands to be the best. I singularly want to thank and appreciate you, and especially to the most lovable family that played a huge role in my life in pushing me to learn the good values of life, and this quality upbringing has helped my journey so far. To my late father, may his soul rest in peace. Oh, how I wish I can turn back the hands of time so I can tell you how appreciative and I am for all the unconditional love you shown me. With countless correction on things I do wrong, you will still be there to help me fix things again and again. Thank you for your undying love you shown to me. Rest in peace, Daddy. To the strength and joy, Miss Aisha and Miss Fatima, for the enduring spirit and love you shown to me during my trial times and tribulation. You are the strength that inspired me more. I appreciate you, ladies. May the Almighty elevate you guys, and may you be example in society that others will love to emulate in supporting their community and society. To my aunts and uncles in the Salon community who have played a great role in my life in pushing and making sure I remain focused and productive and to be a good citizen in society. To the members of my non-profit organization, I thank you all for your daily effort towards the betterment of Mama Salon. This acknowledgement has reminded me to always be true to oneself, never forget where you come from, regardless of your current destination. It has well reminded me to be humble, work tirelessly, selflessly for those that are less fortunate than myself. Overall, it has encouraged me to continue to work harder to see the very best of Mama Salon. Activism is a spirit that we must hold in high esteem. Let's keep the dream alive. To my fellow activists, I dedicate due acknowledgement to us all and encourage that we continue doing what we're doing to make the difference in the lives of those that need our help. To the land that we love, the best is yet to come. I continue to encourage us all to be optimistic and trust in God's timely intervention. Mama Salon will rise. Our trials and tribulation will be history. Once again, I take this opportunity to thank the entire Sierra Star, Mr. Joseph Conte, dignitaries here tonight, Mr. Kramer, and all those who I may have left out. May the Almighty bless all of us. Thank you.
I mean, you look at this picture, what is it?
Good evening. The members of the Franklin Legislature, fellow Sierra Leoneans, ladies and gentlemen, we're here to recognize a significant event in the life of Sierra Leone, our 54th independence. Sierra Leone has done well in some areas and have not done well in some other areas. We experienced civil wars, prosperity, economic decline, and the recent epidemic. So these are challenges that the country is still dealing with. But in order for us to see the next 46 years, we need to involve the young generation. We need to inspire them in some way to see what the next 50 years, or the next 46 years is going to do for Sierra Leone. We still have problems, but we have to get involved. We cannot just sit here and criticize the folks back home. I think we all have to take personal responsibility if we have to develop that nation. So this is a challenge to all of us, that there is still a lot to be done. But we have to get involved somehow. There are problems. But if we come together, we know we can overcome some of these problems. And I'd like to commend Franklin Township for being a part of this incredible milestone. We are increasing in numbers in this township. Some estimates are claiming that we have about 10 to 11,000 Sierra Leoneans in 3 counties, Somerset, Middlesex, and Union County. I think majority of the Sierra Leoneans reside in Somerset, especially Franklin Township. We can make a difference if we all work together. We have a number that is very impressive, but we have to get involved in our community affairs and also in the political affairs of this country. And we are, as you can tell, we are making a difference in this community, the country as a whole, because we are making significant contributions to the life of the United States. I think if we use the same energy to develop Sierra Leone, I think we can. And the next 46 years have to be a little different from what we've seen, so far. But this cannot be done by the folks back here, by themselves, without our help. So folks, I think it is on us. We have to give back to that country. I think if we do, we see a better Sierra Leone. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Honorable Mayor, Honorable Council members, fellow Sierra Leoneans, and all protocols observed. I am here to step on Mr. Lamin Arazi's shoes. He is the chairman of the Sierra Leone Committee of New Jersey. In short, we call it SLCNG. Means it's an umbrella organization that covers a lot of organizations. It's an umbrella. It has about 15 to 20 organizations. All these make up SLCNG. We are very proud to be in Franklin Township. Franklin Township is the home of the Sierra Leoneans. This township treated us with motherly care. They provide all facilities that law-abiding citizens are supposed to enjoy. We thank you, people. And I'm telling you, we are law-abiding Sierra Leoneans. We are growing. We know what needs to be done. Our youths are growing. There are a lot of talents among them. And they explore avenues to put themselves in higher, better heights. Just like the American dreams. If you come in America, you obey, you follow what is required, it's a land that never discriminates nobody. We thank you, people. Some of us were born in Sierra Leone, but financially we are bred in America. There's a difference. We thank you, people. This is the only land that you can live. You walk in the streets. You obey the rules and regulations. You walk. I'm very much proud to see the kind of cordial relationship that's going between the police department and our fellow citizens. We love that. We are not like the other states. And we pray God will continue to shower its blessings upon us. Let us be law-abiding. And we promise we will reach our Mecca. Councilmen, we Sierra Leoneans, we are so many here. But we have a series of problems that are affecting us. Especially we have our social functions. Had it not been for the Franklin Township, wherever we are over 15 to 20,000 people. We have no common place to meet. No hall. If we want to do birthday celebrations, we are always renting. We have no community center that you can meet as a community. We're trying, but the means of getting those things is very difficult. We are growing. We are asking. In future, we need help. Look at our young talents. There are talents amongst these people. But it's not easy to purchase education here. Some of them are going without life insurance. I'm sorry, medical insurance. All sorts of insurance, they are very difficult. But we are trying. We thank you, Mr. Mayor, Franklin Township head people. We're never going to forget you people. Don't forget us. We are here to grow. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Honorable Mayor, Council, Township Manager, our esteemed colleagues here, everybody, good evening. And a happy 54 years of independence in Sierra Leone. We are getting older, huh? Yes. Getting to business, it was Honorable Mildred Crump who once said, it's always good to honor a man when he's still alive and still standing. And I cannot be more proud for all the nice things that were said here. And by everybody, I'm touched, I'm deeply touched. Words could not describe the way I'm feeling right now. But again, we are making progress because we have a few things on the agenda here we want to take care of. I know the council here have very important township business to take care of. So I want to apologize for the time. But what I want to say here is on the occasion of our Sierra Leone independence, we normally give a little talk on the history. So people who did not listen to what we said last year, this year, you'll get it. So we have one African, one Sierra Leonean, who always go around and do that for us. And that person is no other person, Mr. Amadou Mansali. I will call him to come up front to give us a 5-minute talk on the history of Sierra Leone independence. And then we'll move on to a short program wherein we will engage the towns for another 5 or 10 minutes, and then we'll be all over. Please welcome Mr. Amadou Mansali.
Thank you, Mr. Fudi Mansuri. To the
council members of the Township of Franklin, to the mayor, fellow Sierra Leoneans, and distinguished guests, good evening. I want to go away from the history today and talk a little bit more about our future, because the history we cannot change anymore, and leveraging on the gentleman's comments here earlier with regard to what is it we need to do going forward. That's what I want us to talk about today. Is that okay? That's okay. All right. So I'm leading an effort, coordinating an effort with the World Bank, as a consultant with the World Bank, for Sierra Leoneans in the diaspora to contribute back to our home or country of ancestry in a meaningful way. I mean, we've waited for our governments forever. We haven't really seen much. I'm a government guy, and I can appreciate the fact that as governments over the years, we haven't really done much for our country and our people, but as individual Sierra Leoneans, we can make a lot of difference. So I have a flyer here I'm going to be sharing with you guys. It talks about investing in Sierra Leone as a force. Not you by yourself doing your own in silos, but we coming together as one and trying to do some things for our country to make sure that 50 years from now or 46 years from now, we are not in this same situation that we find ourselves now. So, without much ado, basically we're asking, are you currently investing in Sierra Leone? Have you thought about it? If you haven't yet, will you ever do so? So we're doing a survey that's online, starting yesterday we launched it, and we want all Sierra Leoneans all over the diaspora to participate in this survey. The World Bank has said that if we have a strong response and we come up with brilliant ideas for business opportunities, they will match us. So you, Usman Tolo, if you raise $1 million from all your footballers, the World Bank will give you $1 million to do some kind of business in Sierra Leone. Can we do this? So this is what I want to talk about today. However, so I don't disappoint my friend Fode, Franklin Township and Sierra Leone has some connection, and I'll tell you how. When 4 gentlemen from here went to Paris to sign the Treaty of Paris in 1780, who knows what it is, 1787? 1789? Treaty of Paris. There were 4 gentlemen that left here and joined 4 other people from England. The people that left from England, one of them owned or ran the operations of a place called Bunce Island. You're all familiar with Bunce Island? That's where many, many, many slaves were taken from our country and brought to Charleston, South Carolina, and then later Savannah, Georgia. So we have been contributing to the United States way before now, 250, 300 years ago. We brought rice. Rice became the first important industry, first successful industry in this country due to the skills of Sierra Leoneans. However, the point I want to make is that when those 4 people from America and 4 from the United Kingdom went to sign the Treaty of Paris to give America or negotiate America's independence, 2 of them, one from the United States named Henry Lawrence, and the other from the British United Kingdom named Oswald Hansels, who owned British Island and sent slaves to Henry Lawrence here as his agent. They both were chosen as they were chosen specifically because of the business relationship they had. You know, there was the Americans and the British didn't really like themselves at that time. So because of these 2 men, they were able to broker peace. But the most important thing I want to make, the guy who they said Franklin Township was founded on his behalf, or he founded Franklin Township, Benjamin Franklin was one of them. So we had John Jay, John Adams, Henry Lawrence, and Benjamin Franklin. So we connected to Franklin Township in that way, in a special way, by the way, because as Sierra Leoneans, we should also feel proud that we partly were responsible for the negotiating of the Treaty of Paris that gave America their independence. Thank you very much.
It's a bit of a stretch. A bit of a stretch.
For moving forward here, I want to call our team manager, Mr. Joseph Conte, to come forward. What we are about to do here is basically, I want to take a moment at this junction to also recognize some personalities that are here. We have Ms. Carol Bangura, all the way from Philadelphia, and 2 colleagues over there. And as you see here, the room full over here, we have our coach, the gentleman behind me here. All of these are all important people in our community. Of course, one of our committee people here in town, Ms. Hannah. Pleasure to be here. Let's go back to business here. Over the years, we have few council people who have been working with us, including township managers. I would take this moment to make an exception for a reason, for a particular reason. Because those people that I'm going to mention here, they have been with us throughout the years. And I will start by the most important person that I adore here in this room, and I always ask about him, how he's doing. That is, I call him the encyclopedia of Franklin Township, Dr. Chase. And we also want to thank our township clerk, somebody who has been very, very instrumental in many ways to helping us from time that they did not understand the Sierra Leonean community to times that I come there with an heavy accent. It's like, okay, I understand what you want, and she just get it done. So these are the things that we go through. I also want to go to Kimberly Francois. She's been one of our longest-serving councilwomen in our township history. She's been here for many, many years. So I want us to applaud her for her enduring effort in our town here. I said my right-hand partner, Jim Vasinella. I don't want to forget my township manager. Behind here, we can't do much. For those of us who know him better, he used to be one of the police, one that was responsible for us, roads and all those things, and he did a beautiful job. Now he's a township manager. Now, we are coming out to one more person who I do believe also, in all my heart, as a Sierra Leonean, as a Franklinite, as somebody who believes in the American principle and ideal, that this person has gone above and beyond with the help of the other people that I just mentioned to do all it takes for the Sierra Leonean community. Behind the scene, off the scene, on the scene, you call him 2 o'clock in the morning, he's there. That person, I will leave that to the team manager to talk a little bit about that, and we're going to do commendation to this gentleman. Joseph, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, members of the Franklin Township Council, dignitaries, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, fellow Sierra Leonean, my soccer players. Actually, today, I want all the soccer players, please stand up. This is the soccer team. This is the shooting star of Sierra Leone. This is the shooting star of New Jersey, Sierra Leone, in Franklin Township. Thank you, guys. Sit down, please. Our independence has brought great joy, hope, and spirit. In that spirit of joy, I bring greetings to the Sierra Leone community, and I want to thank Mr. Councilman. As a team manager of Shooting Stars of New Jersey, I can assure you that Sierra Leoneans across the United States appreciate the dedication of the April 27 as a Sierra Leone Day in the township of Franklin. The celebration of our 50th independence anniversary came with some amount of challenges in our hometown, Sierra Leone. In May 14th, 2014, the Ebola outbreak struck our national Sierra Leone land and the West and others of the West and other West African country. But as we can always victoriously overcome the civil war, we have again defeated the Ebola disease and have emerged victoriously over Ebola. Football, as we call it, back home, we know it's the most universal recognition sport. And as real Sierra Leoneans across the United States of America, soccer is one of our goals and one of our aim. Every Sierra Leonean has played soccer one way or one time in his life. The Franklin Township and the leadership embrace soccer as a motivation for Sierra Leone in our community to respect the promote of soccer in this town. We honor and respect that because of the soccer team. In that regard, we want to respect and we want to show appreciation to our councilman who has been behind us all this time. And even with our competition that we did on Saturdays, he was with us. He was there for us. He has always been with us. He has always been with the community. He has always been with the soccer team. In that regard, we present this one to...
Come on, Dr. Phil Kramer. And the citation read, the Shooting Stars Soccer Club, a Sierra Leonean community organization of Franklin Township, Somerset, New Jersey. Commendation and merit, honor, Dr. Councilor Philip Kramer. Tuesday, April 28, 2015, on the occasion of Sierra Leone 54th anniversary. We, the above Sierra Leonean community organization in Franklin Township, Somerset County, New Jersey, wishes to extend our profound thanks and appreciation to you for your untiring effort, dedication, and outstanding show of compassion for humanity during the height of the Ebola outbreak in Sierra Leone and the Mano River Union states of West Africa by hosting series of press conferences and reaching out to the community and hospitals within Somerset County. Further, for demonstrating extraordinary support to the Shooting Stars Soccer organization to host a successful soccer tournament at the Franklin Township High School Stadium, an initiative that is in line with our township's social and cultural diversity aspiration to commemorate Sierra Leone 54th anniversary. Signed, Joseph S. Conte, team manager.
Thank you. I'm deeply honored for this. Happy to have been of service. Thank you.
Well, don't go nowhere yet. As Kimberly said before, she said, I quote, Franklin Township is indeed not Ferguson. And it could not have been true because 2008, somewhere ago, Franklin Township was voted as the 5th most desirable place you can live in the United States. And many speakers who have been up here today have reiterated that same point in different ways. Well, what we did as Sierra Leoneans, we went back into the archives and actually proved that Franklin Township is indeed the 5th best place, if not the best place to live in. So, by thereby, Dr. Kramer, we are also rededicating this same article back to the Township of Franklin. We call it Flashback, the Sierra Leone Weekly Chronicle. Shooting Stars Soccer Club commend Franklin Township on the 54th anniversary independent for cultural diversity.
What is that?
Thank you. I don't feel up to, to this award. And I would like to point out, by the way, this home is in East Millstone, and it's for sale. So it's one of the prettiest homes in East Millstone. I'm not getting any money for it, but you can become part, anyone watching from outside of Franklin, you can become part of the 5th best town in the country in this lovely house.
We're moving along, and we are almost there. We have one more presentation to make. And we keep raising the flag every year, and the Sierra Leonean community of New Jersey, for the ongoing effort that we started back at 50th anniversary that you said here, we are donating the Sierra Leone flag, and Mr. John Samba, one of our board members at the Sierra Leone SLCNJ, my colleague here, where's the coach? You can join us here too. So, Mr. Samba, on behalf of the Shooting Stars, they are donating the flag to our councilman Vasanella to be given back to the township as a symbol that we want to keep the Sierra Leone celebration in town every year, and we are also requesting that somewhere between now and the next anniversary that this proclamation that we renew every year be permanent, some form of way, by resolution. Whatever we have to do on our part as Sierra Leoneans, we're willing to go that extra mile. And we want to make sure that the cultural diversity that the township have now can be extended to the African community or the cultural community or Haitian American community or the Chinese American community, wherein if people want to raise the flag of their country in the township here, whatever we have to do as an ordinance, that's what we are putting on the table by donating this first flag to the Township of Franklin on behalf of the Sierra
Mr. Mayor, if I should echo the words of Mr. Mayor, if I should echo the words of Mr. Fode Mansari, this is a way of showing our love for all the hard work that you have done for the Sierra Leonean community. And we hope that you take our request seriously. This is something that means a lot to us, to have this proclamation every year. Thank you very much.
I wasn't expecting this, real quick, because I know we're going to move along. Thank you so much. I wasn't expecting this. And the idea that maybe we can put our collective minds together with council and administration and come up with a way that we can recognize the wonderful cultures and communities in Franklin, and the idea that the Sierra Leone community could be the one that kind of kickstarts this into happening, and we can find a way. Obviously, we got to go through all the bureaucratic processes, but to where all the communities that reside in Franklin are represented here, and there are dozens of nations, and perhaps we can start with Sierra Leone as soon as we can find our way, but we will try to find a way. There you go. Thank you. Somehow working into a piece of non-ordinance, which is getting some traction on it. Kind of forgot what. No idea.
We had public discussion.
No idea.
Okay. Alrighty. Is there a motion to open the meeting for public discussion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. The meeting is open for public discussion on any item of interest which does not have a public hearing of its own. Anyone interested in speaking, please raise your hand, and when recognized, give your name and address. Please, sir.
Get Gary in the back too.
Mhm.
Oh, wait, they haven't.
Yep. Oh, okay. I'll flip it around?
Okay. Flip you around there and clear off your podium so you have a free place to speak.
Oops.
Yeah.
All right, Scott Siegel, Avery Court, Mr. President, members of the council. President Franklin, before I came here, I started a study several years ago on the 566 municipalities in the state of New Jersey to see whether or not the 2% property cap, I know there's 14 exceptions to it, but whether or not the 2% property cap is really working or not. And one of the things that, before I came here, I lived in Hoboken, and worked very hard with the mayor to make our financial page as transparent as possible to really help out the people that, like myself, who could read budget statements. The question is really for the township manager. First off, if you want to go on to look at budgets or audits or any kind of financial statement, you have to fish through the Franklin system. I've done this a lot, and a lot of towns work this way, and it really bugs me because I think it makes it too hard for people. But if you want to get the thing, you go into the finance department. Wherever you click on finance department, it says contact. And there's really
Right there. Actually, if you click on the finance
Yeah.
page, it brings you right to the page with our budgets on it. Just did it while you were speaking.
well, because on my computer, I clicked on it, it said contact.
If you just click on the main part of the pull down that says finance, it brings you right to the page with the
Right, if you click on that.
With the budgets.
But it doesn't say that there's a link to the budgets on there. And what really should happen is there should be a drop-down menu on that tab to show that there are budgets and financial statements on that page, because the average person may not know that. Okay? Second thing is, in 2010 budget, you have, it's different form, it's in a spreadsheet, and all I see on that is sheet A. And the rest of that budget looks like it's missing. Away from that, if you look on sheet 11 on any subsequent budget, there's 3 items at the bottom concerning the municipal levy. The first item is the municipal taxes to be raised. The second is the school tax levy, and the third is the library. As far as I know, it's maybe somebody else, but Franklin does not have a figure in there for the school budgets. They're blank on every single budget. If you look on sheet 11,
which budget year?
any year, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
They're all the same. So my question is, right now it's 37 million. So for me, someone who can read financial statements without doing a lot of fishing, is the 37 million the total for this city, which includes the school, or are you just omitting the school budget?
No, we don't do the school budget. The school board does the budget. This is the municipal budget document as required by the state of New Jersey. The school budget is not included because
we are not the entity that prepares that budget or levies the tax for that purpose.
Right, but if you would look at virtually every other city in the state, I believe we're probably the only ones that does not fill in that column.
No, that's
untrue.
what
This is
Type
what-
1 school districts have that.
Yeah,
So-
type
so you
1
might have looked at a big town.
We're not a type 1 school district, as the township attorney just said, and no, that's an incorrect statement. This budget document is approved by the DCA at the state before it's put on this website. That's the document as it's approved by the state of New Jersey. This is our budget document, and
I know that's your budget, but
we
it's
do
fine.
not budget the school, we do
No,
not
no,
include
no,
the
no,
school.
no one does. No one does. But if you.
Well, you just said that everyone does.
No. Every town that I know of has all three columns filled in.
Well, I beg to differ.
Would you like me to
And-
come back
and
next
I will
time
t-
and show it to you?
And no, you can show me whatever you would like, and I will
Okay.
certainly look at it. What I'm telling you is that in our form, our Board of Education is separate and apart, and their budget is not included in our budget document.
Every town pretty much has a separate budget process that used to be voted on by the voters. Now it doesn't have to be, but those towns include that on there. This makes it easy for people, instead of having to go to a school board site, let's say, and the city site, it's all in one place. So I'll try to get a count for you next time. I'll try how many towns I can go through, but I'll go through 50 of them and take a survey for you. The other thing is that there are other things that you could do to show transparency as well, which I think we all believe in. For example, we have budget hearings every year. And one of the things about the budget hearings is it shows the citizens of the town what the council members are interested in, and also the line of questioning. And it's on TV, but then once it goes on TV and it's off, it's off. And if you could possibly put, as we did in Hoboken, we actually put the budget hearings online.
It's actually on YouTube. All of our council meetings are archived on the website, and there's a direct link to those videos, and you can click on it and go to YouTube. And we're actually working on live streaming as part of the website, but all of them are archived on the website, and you can certainly go to those, and it will bring you to the video, and they
I
don't go
understand
away.
YouTube, but again, I'm talking about trying to make it easy for people if they want to look at statements. If you could possibly on that financial page provide a link to the particular budget hearings. You know, maybe not post the actual video, but a link to it. This way, again, it's all on one page. And it makes it a lot easier for people if they want to go through stuff, instead of going from page to page or website to website, that you'd be able to just use one page, make it very user-friendly. So that's basically what I want to talk about tonight. So I'll do the other study for you in the towns, but I try to believe that if you can have everything on one page for people, instead of having to fish around from Ustream to school board to city, and have it all on one site or links on every site, that it does make it easier for people like myself who can read these financial statements.
Thank So- you.
Yes, any questions? I'm sorry.
I just wanted to check with our attorney. Is there a requirement that, or does certain communities do this and others do not have to put it all on one page?
Well, it's on our website, and it all is actually on one page, so.
The school board is not.
Well,
No, the
what
school
what I
board-
believe the gentleman's talking about, Mr. Rainone, is on sheet 11, number 6, is amount to be raised by taxes for support of municipal budget, and line B is addition to local district school tax, of which we do not budget addition to local school tax. So therefore, that line is blank.
Correct. That's
And
that's
that
not,
is-
by
that
the way,
is-
that's not, by the way, the line where you would put in the
No.
appropriations for the school budget. That's a completely different expenditure. It's an expenditure out of our budget.
That's correct.
So if we were raising municipal taxes for money that we were going to give to the school board,
That's where that
or
would go.
or for instance, if we were raising money because we were at one time a type 1 school district and we had debt service that we still had an obligation to pay, we would show that in our budget. But they are two completely different budgets. There's no place in our budget for the school budget.
I understand that. As I said before, the school budget is usually voted on by the voters before the cap, and it's done separately, the school, but I'll put in, I'll go through about 50 different towns if you want, 25 towns, and I'll show you where they actually put it on that sheet. It's very, because I do this.
But sir, I don't want I don't want to disagree with you, but I just want to tell you that there is no place, there's no box in our school budget, in our municipal budget, where we would ever put in the Board of Education budget. If we were raising money that we were giving to the Board of Education, we would put it in our budget. But our budget is our budget. That is a separate budget, no more than there is a space for us to put the county's budget in or the state's budget number in, or the fire districts. You just don't. So the answer is you might show me 50 budgets in which towns raise money in their municipal purpose tax that they give to the school board, and that would be true, but we don't do that. So the answer is 0. So I know that you're looking for something.
I'll
that's
give you
just
one
not there.
example. Okay, one that came from Hoboken. The school board had a separate budget.
Correct.
On every budget we have, the school budget was listed on that blank item.
Not the total amount of the school board budget. Only thing is listed there is any money that was raised municipally that they gave to the school. It's an appropriation. That's all it is. The Hoboken school budget is, what, $250 million? That's
correct.
That was the number in your budget?
No, it was much less than that. but
Okay,
whatever happens
so
is-
the Hoboken School District budget is probably in excess of $100 million. If that number wasn't $100-something million, then it wouldn't have been, then that wasn't the number. All I'm saying is that you're misinterpreting what that number is.
I'll take a look at it, because as far as I know, it was the same number that was on the ballot every year. Okay.
I don't know.
Mr. Mayor?
Let's keep moving.
Yes?
So I think, obviously what's been explained, that it's different than Hoboken, right? I grew up in Jersey City. Budgets are totally different from when, in a town like Jersey City. However, if your request is, and something that we can certainly entertain is, hey, to help make it easier to understand the budgets, if you could put the Board of Ed budget on the municipal webpage, so that when they looked at it, we could look at doing.
That'd be very
and that
good.
would
That would
help
be a very good compromise.
for ease
Right.
of searching.
Right, so-
But the answer doesn't change as to what the township manager or our attorney said, which is, as our budget, in the way that we calculate it, there is no line item that the Board of Ed budget is part of any of our calculations, so we couldn't enter it in as an
Okay, well, if you could put it on, again, that would be a fair compromise. I'm just trying to put everything in one spot.
Yes, so
Where someone
that's what
wants to
I'm
look at financial
gathering from
information,
this.
it's all
If
there.
you-
That's my main point.
Right, if
That's
you
fair
saw that the budget was on the municipal and it clearly said the Board of Ed budget, that would help you in your research of seeing.
Thank
Is
you.
that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
The other thing I just
We
wanna-
can certainly.
That's a
ask-
fair request.
We could
Yeah.
ask the township manager to look in to see if that's possible to do.
Thank you.
Okay.
The other thing I just want to mention, if you look at NJ.com today, they came out with the annual study of taxes by counties in the country. And once again, 7 of the top 10 counties in the country for taxes, state of New Jersey. But I'm happy to report that Somerset County is not on that list, which I think is a good sign. Thank you.
That's good. Thank you.
Thank you.
So here's the line in the Hoboken budget. It's blank.
Hi, Gary Rosenthal, 4306 Avery Court. I'm also the chairman of the Human Relations Commission, and that's why I'm here tonight. I am not going to be long, but I've been asked by the HRC to put this on the record because we've been talking about this for 1 year now. We are concerned about Berry Street in the 4th Ward, which is an area where we have children playing in the streets and they have no recreation at all. We started talking about this last summer. I attended one of the meetings and I was told it would be taken care of, and we're still talking about it. Last evening, we had a committee meeting, and Councilman Wright was on the conference call, and I know you are working on it, but that area is in dire need of some recreation. The summer is coming again, and with those kids and those young people that are in the streets, it's going to cause a tremendous situation. And the Human Relations Commission, who, as you know, is an extremely active commission in the township, is asking the council to get behind this, and we need some recreation, notwithstanding the PNC Bank and the corporation that owns some of that property in the area. So I am putting on record that we need the recreation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Because these talked about that way. Thank you, Gary.
Please,
Sort of like looking at you can turn it away again now.
I think that's a commentary on you, Ed.
Thank you, Councilman. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, distinguished members of the council. Ed Potasnik, 163 Home Street Home in Somerset. Also have the privilege of serving as the president of the Franklin Township School Board. So I just want to give you a little school board update. I hope you guys can join us at some of our meetings. First, I want to thank you for almost recognizing our outstanding girls Lady Warriors basketball team tonight, and I hope they can be back on the agenda. And I also want to highlight there are numerous awards being given out within our schools for outstanding students in their academics, their athletics, their co-curricular, our arts and music, and they're too numerous with a meeting at this length tonight to go over here. But our schools are outstanding and they're improving every day. We're in the process right now of a superintendent search, and that is ongoing to find a permanent superintendent for the district as an educational leader to take us forward and really raise the bar for our students, and we're excited about that. In addition, I wanted to just give you one calendar entry here, which is the graduation, which is on June 26th. So if you can join us, information as far as the specifics down at the Sun Center in Trenton. And then the voter-approved referendum, which passed just this past fall, that work has begun. We are fixing leaky roofs that are costing all kinds of damage, as well as leaky windows, all kinds of energy upgrades between now and over the summer, which will ultimately help to save taxpayers money, which is exciting. And then the planning for the additions at Elizabeth Avenue and the new school, those are also in the works. So that's my update, and look forward to improving our coordination and see where we can save some money by sharing services, because that's a really important part. We all serve the same taxpayers. We do have a different budget. It is online. We do have our budget presentation online on our website, which is exciting. All kinds of other information can be found there as well. So thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilman Reagan?
And since you're up here, how is the publicity and reaching out to parents about the warnings of and the dangers of prom week? We know that last year there were a number of incidents. We had members of the council meet with the Board of Ed and their representations in public safety, and there were recommendations that came forth that said the school board was going to run meetings with the parents and advertise, these kids who take prom week off and show up in school without any consequences. How has all that been handled this year?
I think it's a really good point. Obviously, student safety is important around the prom, it's coming up to prom season. I think the school district, in cooperation with the police department, have done a tremendous job in reaching out to parents, in engaging in their responsibilities, as well as with the students. And actually, just this past Thursday, we had a board meeting that night on I think it was the 24th. They had a program at the high school for attendees and parents going to the prom, which was, looking at the realities, the risks associated with, taking the week off, as it were, or anything like that. With students in today's day and age, it's really important to use every opportunity as an educational opportunity and preserve their lives. I mean, ultimately, back in my day when I was younger, it was all too frequent that we lost,
colleagues in our school to drunk driving. And we've been able to get that a little bit better, but there are other risks, whatever it might be related to alcohol or other substances, and just, merriment, as it were. And so really just making sure they understand the responsibilities as an adult, as a young person, that are associated. And I think that's been a really great partnership, and we're really pleased with the police department to work on that.
You also have to thank the Youth Alliance.
Yes.
They were a very strong part of that.
Yeah,
And I'll talk about that some more.
And I was only also going to mention that Parties, Proms, and Pitfalls was a program that Mr. Potasnik, I believe, is referring to.
Right.
And that, in conjunction with Parents Who Host, Lose the Most campaign, which again was an alliance program that was really our recreation director, Alice Sipowicz, was the pivot person, the point person, I should say, for both of those programs.
But
thank you.
Actually, so relative to student behavior, though, has there been any additional consequences or put into place for students who take the week off? Like, I understand you may not show up to school the next day. That kind of is accepted. People turn out. But the fact that you're out of school the following Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, what type of behavior modifications has the school board put in place to address that specific issue?
We have a pretty thick student code of conduct that deals with attendance issues as well as behavioral things, and it's pretty strict as far as if you do this, then this is the consequence. There was some discussions within some of the committees about how to address, returning to school. To my knowledge, there's been no changes there, particularly.
So no changes since last year relative to that
Not that I'm
particular
aware
issue?
of. Yeah.
And that's because committees didn't think it was important enough to address?
I'm not sure
Fine.
I can't comment on what happened in committee.
Okay. I don't understand that, but okay.
It's just one of our bylaw rules. Committees are confidential until they're made public.
Committees can't be confidential if they're public elected. They're not under the sunshine law that I would know of. So, like, the fact that
Well, just you come to the meeting, and then the committee chair will be there and able to address it. We welcome you. We meet twice a month. Next meeting is this coming Thursday, budget hearing.
yeah, it's just disappointing to hear that, given that this was such an issue with the public, so we had special public safety committee meetings on it with the Board of Ed members, and the fact that, behaviors weren't, or steps weren't taken within the school to address those issues, other than what, the preventive, which was already in place. I mean, the township has been very active in supporting it, but we needed to see something more proactive, and it was expecting to see something more proactive. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one very self-serving question.
Sure.
Is it possible, being a runner, I use the track, the old high school, as I'll always refer to it as the high school, the new high school, you guys locked the track there. Is there any particular reason the new high school track is locked, where the old high school, the real high school track is left open?
Middle school track? Is that what
The
you're
high
saying?
school track is left open?
That one's not good enough. I can check. I don't know.
Okay. It was just a curiosity.
I can definitely get back to you.
Okay. Thank you very
The
much.
new one is nicer.
It is a much nicer track on the knees, so.
Buggier too over there.
Well, Mr. Mayor,
So, Councilman Kramer?
thank you. I would just like to address the BOE president, and the BOE vice president is here too, Ms. Nancy LaCourte. I'd like to thank them for the incredible work you're doing. This Board of Ed was really handed quite a difficult task with virtually every major position in the school, superintendent, business manager, high school principal, et cetera, being interim. And to imagine here at the township having to replace every department head virtually all at once. And you've held it together well, and I just want to commend you for that.
I appreciate it. And on behalf of the entire board, we have unprecedented challenges. As you might imagine, $150 some odd million budget. In addition, we have teacher contract negotiations. We have an interim superintendent, an interim high school principal, interim athletic director, interim director of special education, interim director of curriculum and instruction, and other retirements that are going to leave some of our principalships vacant. We do have a lot of pressing issues to provide a safe environment, a healthy environment for our students, as well as ensure a high level of academic rigor and enhanced extracurricular and co-curricular activities, I like to call them. And we also expanded the breakfast program at the middle school, which has been a huge success. We were going from about feeding 50 students to 500 within a few days of a small bell modification. And as you know, hungry students, it's hard to learn. So we are trying to meet the significant challenges that we have. I think we've been able to do a great job. There's always room for improvement. And I appreciate your concern, because the schools are the fabric, the bread and butter of our community. They are the thing that identify us and provide the next generation with opportunities to succeed and excel. So, we're in it. We're working really hard, and we'll get better with each iteration. So thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you very much. Mr. Tibbs.
Nice job, Bill. A nice job. I had other things that I was going to speak about, but since you had the Board of Education individuals up here now, I had a little thing written at home that I was going to say when I go to the board meeting. But since you guys are discussing all of it now, I think I should say what the community is feeling. The whole community got together when they offered the referendum for the school system to be passed. The whole community got together and passed the referendum. Everybody wanted the school board budget to be passed. We all got together and passed the school budget. Since that particular time, I have seen nothing from the school board except for bickering, political posturing, and now they've even decided to rehash the whole Martin Luther King breakfast. Now, it's the only thing I've seen. We've asked the board president to come to the Human Relations Commission meeting. I specifically asked him, what are the educational structures are you giving to the students in terms of the students that not be left behind, and the alternate school, and the problems that we were having with the middle school? You know what he told me? Nothing. And since he was up here talking to you guys, he didn't say one word about education of students. I think that you understand what he just said. I have a problem as a citizen in this township that was the problems that was put forward for us passing the referendum, for us passing the school budget. He did not indicate anything that he was doing anything like that. So nice conversations is good. You all know all about nice conversations. As far as I'm concerned, they've done nothing in terms of educating and getting to the trust of the students that was failing in the high schools, the alternate schools, and the issues that we have been facing before we passed the budget and the referendum. Now I'll go to some other things. That's my statement. I'd like to commend the Ted Chase, and we have professional, what do you call them? Professional gardeners from the came down to the community and gave us some wonderful tips of gardening and the whole process of gardening. And they gave us a number of leaflets that passed out to all of the people that had the plots in the gardens. And I also like to thank Ted Chase again. I came to your house. Thank you very much for the cultivator that we have, the cultivator that we got down the garden. And the citizens, they're proud of it. They're advancing towards getting another blue ribbon garden again, along with the common grounds over in Pine Grove.
I like to, and the Public Works Department has been giving us support in terms of mulch and the other things. So we are on our way to a nice, successful year. I also want to report on there was another meeting was held at First Baptist Church about the post office. The post office closing date is May the 15th. That's my birthday, by the way, May the 15th. You know, it's been some conversations through Bonnie Watson Smith's, Bonnie Watson Coleman's office, in terms of some of the other non-functional redevelopment agencies that got us to the point of where it's about to close on May the 15th because of the lack of movement in the past process. After that meeting, there was a directive given to by Pastor Soares to the head of the CDC to directly send a letter to the parties that have forwarded a letter to that meeting, to saying that they are interested, that the CDC is interested in providing a boutique type, village type of post office to replace the one that if we're gonna lose the one on May the 15th. That deadline was August, no. 31st of August. Of 31st of August. Now that's where we are now in terms of post office. As of right now, the closing date, unless they accept the letter that Pastor Soy sends, that they would take full responsibility of setting up a satellite office or a boutique type of office, then it will be closed on May the 15th and at this point in time. List of items. Oh, Mr. Chase, we also submitting a list of items to the appropriate agencies for the tools and all the necessary things that we might need for the true gardens. We've got that memo also, sir. And the rest is for Kimberly. I'll see you.
Got it covered.
Yes, to you.
You'll get
Yes.
your hoses and shovels, John.
Yes, sir. That's it. I'm sorry. Yes, to Mr. Bolaka. Right. It's coming forward. Thank you very much. And some other job for Kimberly, it's not for us to discuss. I want to see you about certain things.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Tibbs.
Thank you, Mr. Tibbs. Mrs. LaCourt?
Nancy LaCourt, 6 Blackwell's Mills, Somerset. Regarding the question about the Board of Ed and the absentee on after prom, it's counted as a cut, so it's in our student code of conduct, so if the kids don't show up, it's a cut, so they're disciplined for that. And the Memorial Day Parade is on Memorial Day, so I'm inviting you all to attend, encouraging you to attend. The lineup is on New Brunswick Road at 10 o'clock in the morning, and the presentation, the parade kicks off at 11. The parade kicks off at 11, and it goes down DeMott Lane and ends at the Veterans Memorial outside. And there'll be presentation, and it will be hosted by the high school junior ROTC.
Oh, good.
Okay? So
Nice.
and the Franklin Township Police Department will be doing the honor guard. Right?
Well, that actually wasn't the road that I was going down, but I'll go down the road myself then. So the issue was raised, Mr. LaCourt has had a conversation with me regarding police coverage for this particular parade. As council may recall, several years ago, you made a decision that parades were not included in those events where the township would provide police coverage. However, over the last 2 years, you've reversed that decision specifically for the Memorial Day Parade, and the township has covered the cost of the police traffic direction for the Memorial Parade. I guess my question would be, and I see nodding heads, are we looking to do that again this year so that I can have all the arrangements made for the police coverage? If there's no objections, I'll just move forward with that. That seems to be the trend.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
well, and there we have it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the audience that'd like to speak?
Mr. Mayor, upon seeing no one else raising their hands or stepping forward, I make a motion to close the public session.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Now to the council comments. I will start down on my right with Councilwoman Sherman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to make some comments about the parties, proms, and pitfalls. Since I am part of the Youth Alliance, which is headed up by Alice Osipowicz in the Recreation Department, there's a tremendous amount of work that went into this on everybody's part, the schools, the police, but I also want to send out a particular notice to Alice and all of the work that she and her committee did. They put together a tremendous amount of literature and handouts that were there for the parents. There were refrigerator cling things that were magnets that were handed out, reminders to parents. The whole thing really did focus a lot on the parents. I was kind of interested in that. I don't think, as a parent myself, that I understood the implications of what they were talking about, and I don't think a lot of the parents in the audience understood a lot of the things that were spoken about. It showed behavior of children that if you're not of this age, you don't realize how they get sort of duped into drinking because of pressures. And then it leads to unprotected sex, it leads to automobile accidents, it leads to poor judgment. And I think these were things parents may not have seen so graphically. Also, there was someone from the insurance industry, Robin Saddam was there. And if they host a party, someone gets hurt, their homeowner's insurance might not cover them. A lot of the things that they thought they might be protected by their insurance for would not work in a situation like this. And then we had our police sergeant, it's Brian Regan? Yeah.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is a detective sergeant.
Okay, and he spoke about what has happened, and it's not the prom itself, it's the after prom that's the problem. It's the homes that parents pay to rent for kids for these events after the prom, and that's where they get into the trouble. At the prom, they're very well monitored and they're well behaved. It's after prom. So as a parent, I think we all need to be vigilant, and we ought to be able to really know our children well enough that they trust you and care about hurting you as a result of things that they do to hurt themselves. So it was a very worthwhile event, and I give credit to the school, to the Youth Alliance, and to the police for all of their contribution to this, including Robin from the insurance industry. Oh, and Officer Hebron's wife was there, who's an attorney, and she did a very good job talking about cases that she had where young people wind up with long jail terms for things that they do under the influence of alcohol. Two other things I just wanted to talk about briefly. One was a unity event that I attended on Sunday at the AME Church in East Millstone. It was a lovely event, trying to bring the various communities together, and there will be an expansion on that next year. I give Pastor Boyer a great deal of credit. He started out with very little, and he's working very hard to make his church flourish. So I thank him for all of his efforts. And just a little update, we did have a meeting on economic development today with the Somerset County Business Partnership. A lot of things were discussed, a lot of ideas were thrown around. I just want you to know that we will have a lot of support from the county, from the business partnership, and we have formed our own economic development committee. We will be working with members of the township, identifying our priorities, and then working with, as I said, the county and the business partnership to determine our next steps and where we go from here. So a lot of progress is being made, and just want to let you know about that. Thank you.
Councilman Vasanella?
Thank you. I'm going to be quick here. This feels like hours ago, actually it was a couple hours ago when the police were here, and I just want to, again, quickly acknowledge something that was mentioned about when, I don't know if it was the chief mentioned about when they leave in the, or come to work, leave home, you never know what you're going to encounter. And, you know, I'm sure most days are not as eventful, thankfully, as the one that led those heroic police officers to that fire and risking their lives to save someone. But you just don't know. And I'm glad it was mentioned about thanking the families, acknowledging the families, because of course, the courage of risking your own life is major, but the idea of being the loved ones and the family of those who do that has got to bring a unfortunate stress and toll. But anyway, I just also wanted to mention that when I guess it was a day after the fire, I was getting my car repaired somewhere and look up at the screen, and I'm in a rush. I want to get out and go home, and all of a sudden, I think it was one of the major, I don't know, Channel 7, one of the networks in New York that was interviewing one of the policemen, who was a lot more talkative than he was here tonight. I think it was one of the police officers here talking about it on the news. But it was obviously an unfortunate moment to hear about a fire, but I was surprisingly proud. It just came over me, that idea that to not only live in this town and serve, but to have the type of individuals, especially in the area of emergency response, as dedicated and courageous as they are. So sorry to go on about that, but it kind of puts a lot of things in life into perspective when you see that type of activity and realize that, God forbid, you know, it could have been a bad situation, but thankfully to their courage, they made a bad situation turn out pretty good. So thanks to them.
Councilman Prasad?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I might as well, it's been brought up, so I might as well talk about the post office. I was at the First Baptist Church meeting with the Congresswoman's district director there, and Assemblyman Joe Danielson also has been trying to help with that whole situation. A lot of people will be put out of inconvenience because we have people from various countries that find it the cheapest way to send money home, and they go to the post office. And then there are a lot of seniors who do not have cars, who walk to the post office. I have personally used the post office since 1977. It still continues to service my home. So to see it leave when it was the only post office at one time before DeMott Lane even came about is sad. And the village post office that they're talking about, so right now it's slated to close on May 15th. We're trying to get an extension on that through Bonnie Watson Coleman's office with the United States Postal Service. And they have responded saying that they're open to a village post office concept, and that there is only one in New Jersey, and that also is one where it is kind of a boutique where they'll sell you forever stamps, and they don't weigh your postage and give you metered postage as such, so it'll be an inconvenience. I don't know if that boutique post office will be able to do any money orders for the people sending money home, so that is going to be an inconvenience. And we're trying through the Community Development Corporation to get an expedited approval of a village post office concept to at least provide some service in the area. And the people from the 4th and 5th Ward specifically will be very affected by that. So we'll keep you posted. We're working on it, and I'll let you know, but it's the federal government, the United States Post Office, that controls it. So then last Saturday, there was a parade in town on Cedar Grove, the Jain temple, and all the devotees there had a parade down Cedar Grove celebrating the birthday of Lord Mahavira, and I went there and read a proclamation for that, and there was huge crowds there. And beyond that, I just wanted to say something about the cricket. That is something that is coming up on June 30th. We are going to have a hearing here, but prior to that, I look upon my role as more of a resource, because 40 years ago I played the game, and I'm probably the only one on the council here who understands the game. And so as a resource, I can...
I beg to differ with that, Councilman Prasad.
I did live in India for a year.
You played cricket, okay.
I played cricket.
Okay.
And I watched it.
Okay.
All right, I'm down here too on the cricket deal, okay?
Okay, all right.
The family from St. Kitts, all right?
Okay,
Just wanna let
all
you know
right.
that. Okay.
When I was a kid, I used to catch crickets.
Okay. So what we wanted to do was, since there is a lot of misunderstanding about cricket, because if you watch it on a World Cup, it's an international game that's being played in a stadium, and it's like comparing the Super Bowl to a touch football game that would be played here. So in that sense, we're trying to get a game organized for the local residents to come and actually play the game. And we'll send out invitations for all those that are interested, and have you actually play it right there in Catalpa Park, and we'll facilitate that so that, and then there can be a dialogue, and you can understand and ask any questions about that, because I believe that all interests and concerns should be put to rest, and I've always maintained that. And for that purpose, we'll try to do that before the June 30th hearing. Want to thank Mr. Potasnik for coming. This is great, giving us an update. We love that. Always, because you are a separately elected body, we kind of are in the dark of your activities, but thank you, and we appreciate it. And finally, wanted to thank Bob and Nancy LaCourte for, organizing and running the Memorial Day Parade that they have tirelessly done for the many years in the past. And it's a great event for the whole township, where we honor our fallen citizens. And so, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Regan?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So given the topic of prom and what's happening in the schools and what's been done since last year I attended the Youth and Family Alliance Committee after prom, and after getting the report of the incidents that occurred last year, I went home and I was visibly shaking. I was sick. I was really taken back when I heard of the complaints that were being filed, and most of it stems, doesn't surprise anybody, from obviously alcohol and other type of drugs that are available to kids, or get kids that happen that necessarily parents aren't aware of. But as parents, you're all aware of it. Like, it's around. It was around when I was a kid in the 70s and 80s. It's no different today. All right. So parents are aware, and certainly if a parent isn't aware of the potential use of alcohol and drugs, with their kids or their friends, then they're just really living in the dark and keeping their heads in the ground, right? I mean, it's an aspect of today's environment, culture, times, as it was when I grew up in the 70s. But one of the significant problems, and again, it's not an issue that the police nor the Board of Ed can stop, is that the problems that were serious were found to have occurred in homes that were rented by parents to allow their kids go unescorted and stay. Now, certainly parents have that right to do that, but in my opinion, they're rather, I guess I would use the word stupid if they do that and think that other kids aren't popping in, or there is no potential that somebody's other kid or some adult, 21 or older college friends, are going to show up at that house. So if you do that, you put not only your child at risk, you put other children at risk. So I really hope that through the education that was done based out of what came out of the Public Safety Committee meetings last year on this and the recommendations that came from that, that were enacted and implemented, that helps to raise the awareness. But clearly, parents who do that type of behavior, rent house for either their underage child, sign the lease, which actually is illegal, and then don't be present during that, you are endangering not only your child, you are endangering the safety of the other children during that prom week. I truly hope after the prom week during this year, that the reports that I'll get from the chief, that hopefully the preventive actions that have been put in place, all the awareness programs, will show an improvement in the statistics that came out. But basically, you know, it was just very, very sad to see, as someone who has raised their children in this town, where I consider this home, to find out what had happened over the last few years. And again, obviously, the Board of Ed, nor the police, nor the township municipality can control what parents do or what they rent. But certainly, you know, as far as policy in the school, like, you know, if there's a cut policy and that policy is in place and really isn't helping, then it may be worthwhile to revisit that to see if there's anything to look at it again. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilman Chase?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On April 18th, the Environmental Commission and Stony Brook Millstone Watershed Association ran a cleanup along Mile Run behind St. Peter and Paul Church, aided by a number of people from Bloomberg, and we picked up 2,245 pounds of trash. And of course, Township Public Works was there to receive and take away the trash, for which we thank them. On April 25th, the Environmental Commission held a rain barrel workshop in the municipal building, and 27 residents ordered and presumably constructed rain barrels. On the same day, the Shade Tree Commission celebrated Arbor Day by planting 120 trees and shrubs at Negri Napoti grasslands along the side where the township property borders the Otterbein and Cercelli properties. Yesterday, Township Engineer Tom Zelenek and I accepted an Environmental Leadership Award from the Watershed Association at their annual meeting for our program requiring all property owners with stormwater quality control systems, that's detention basins and dry wells and so forth, to obtain an annual stormwater management permit and submit quarterly reports to show that the detention basins and such are being maintained. And the township does from time to time inspect these facilities to make sure they're doing what we should be doing. And this also assists the township in our annual certification to the state regarding our responsibilities for stormwater control. And Tom reported on this at the Land Preservation Convention run by New Jersey Conservation Foundation early in the month, and was regarded as a signal thing to have done, and really leadership, we hope, to the rest of the state in conducting such policies. The Land Use Committee met last Wednesday. I think Councilman Wright is going to report on some of that, but we discussed the state's proposal to put farmland leases on 6 Mile Run up for bidding, reportedly at an unreasonably high starting bid, and the committee suggested that when we have all the facts about this, the council might adopt a resolution concerning it. Finally, the committee also approved purchase from the manager's budget of tools and hoses for the community gardens, as we've already discussed a bit. Finally, we discussed some matters which will be discussed by full council in executive session. The Public Works Committee met last Friday. We finalized the list of streets to be repaved with this year's appropriation, or a few which remain to be paved with last year's appropriation. Thanks to the tireless advocacy of Councilman Vasanella, Foxwood Drive was added to the list. We also discussed green infrastructure, rain gardens, grassy swales, impervious surface reduction. Rutgers Cooperative Extension has done a study on this with specific suggestions for Pine Grove and Connolly Road schools and the East Franklin High School. And I have a copy of this to give to you, Ed. Hopes that the Board of Ed can adopt those suggestions. Part of the parking lot at Middlebush Park will be paved with porous pavement, and a rain garden is being designed for the Griggstown grassland to prevent the washing out of the driveway there. We're considering porous pavement for outdoor basketball courts, which will let them drain immediately rather than holding puddles. So it's sort of a rundown on a lot of environmental activity in the township. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Kramer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to echo the sentiments. I want to echo the sentiments about our police officers. I think the chief said it best. You wake up in the morning, you have no idea what your day is going to be like. These people are my heroes, and I think we need to remember, with all the things in the press now, the wonderful things they do. So next time you see a police officer, wave, say hello, let them know that we understand the great job that they're doing here in Franklin. I'd like to thank the mayor for bringing preeclampsia into the spotlight as someone who has been involved with the treatment of patients with preeclampsia and much worse, eclampsia. It's a situation where you begin the day with excitement about the arrival of your new child and then have a real threat thrust upon you. It is certainly a problem when it occurs, as rarely as it occurs, but when it occurs, it is a problem that gets your attention. And I've been proud of the outcomes that the team I've worked with has been able to achieve with it. The stormwater issue that Councilman Chase just spoke of, I went to a meeting now over a month ago about that, but there's little things you can do at home, and it makes a huge difference. Remember, our neighbors downstream in Boundbrook and Manville, when things happen here, when there's a storm, they flood. You know, Canal Road floods and I'm trapped in my house, big deal, but their houses are flooded. And a little thing that I can do, that I did, was just divert a spout that comes off of my carport and was going down my driveway I just had to put a different spout ending on it, and now it goes across a lawn and into a woods before it eventually empties into Canal Road. Obviously, that little spout's not going to make much of a difference, but if everyone takes those little measures in town, it really can make a huge difference. I want to remind everyone, May 17th is the day we close down the northern part of Canal Road, so you can walk, so you can walk your dog, so you can bike, so you can roller skate. It's a very good day. I've seen the mayor on it. I think many people have enjoyed it, taken advantage of it. The last thing is my dismay about the closing of the post office. I think they're closing a post office with a group of people who use it, who have the least ability to get around town to go to another post office. I understand cost cutting. We've done cost cutting here, but I think this was a bad choice on the part of the post office. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Wright.
Mr. Mayor, I only have a couple of things. Councilman Chase brought up the community gardens and the 6-mile run leases. Councilman Chase has been on that for a very long time and should be commended for the good work that he's done on the Land Use Committee. The green infrastructure that we were looking to have in town, that too was moved to the Public Works Committee for them to do work figuring out how everything was going to go. So I'll just read you two more things from the Land Use Committee meeting. Canal Walk and Renaissance multi-purpose path. After discussion, the committee was okay with the proposal for a developer to provide $45,000 payment in lieu based on the cost estimate of constructing the path. Such funds will be used by the township to construct a pathway in another location. A revision of the developer's agreement may be necessary. So that's for the Renaissance and the...
No, actually, that's just for Canal Walk.
Canal Walk, I'm sorry. Canal.
There was just a very, very small section for Renaissance that couldn't be built due to the inability to obtain it necessary right away. So that's about, I think, about $8,000 cash in lieu of building that.
That was for Renaissance or Canal?
That's for Renaissance is the small one.
Okay.
That goes from the Renaissance property line, the western property line, out to Elizabeth Avenue. It's just a couple hundred feet.
That's why he makes the big bucks. On the redevelopment meeting, our next meeting was moved to May the 11th at the large conference room, and you heard by the Human Relations Committee, they'll be there in attendance to discuss green space, park in the redevelopment area for the children and the residents to use. So that'll come up, and we'll report back on that next week. The Recreation and Housing Authority, I'll report back to you on that next week because, one, I missed the meeting, so we'll be back to discuss that one. Go moving right along here. Miss Nancy Miller came up with a good problem for us, and I'm going to say it's a good problem. She emailed the mayor and I about potholes in the front of her house on Heather Drive. Now, I went by her house, but it was around 9-ish, 9:30, and I apologized for coming late, but I'm a funeral director, and that was the only time that I could get there. So I rang the doorbell, I talked to him for a while, and he was just glad that somebody came by to look at his potholes. So I emailed our township manager to take a look at things, and right now I'm going to swing it down to him because they did an outstanding job on those potholes.
So I can't take all the credit. I didn't go out and fill them, but I can tell you that I did go out there just before the meeting tonight, and they were all filled. And also, just for those residents of Heather Drive, certainly it is in poor condition. And in fact, we opened bid we had a bid opening last week for Heather Drive, and Heather Drive hopefully will be on your agenda at the next council meeting for the contract award for the repaving of it. So it is in poor condition. It is repaired temporarily, and it should be repaired permanently within the next couple months.
Now, just a little note on that. We're your council members. And if anything goes wrong in the township, whether it's in the 4th Ward, the 3rd Ward, the 2nd Ward, the 1st, overall council members, you got to let us know, because it won't get fixed unless you tell us, because I can't be everywhere. But if you call me, just like Phil has his telephone number there, we'll know everything about the township that you want fixed. Now, moving on. Oh, this one is for Reverend Pastor Dinger, who's at the Holy Trinity Lutheran Church here on Amwell Road, and I'm just going to read you the snippet. I am most grateful to you for the use of your facilities for the ward meeting of April 16, 2015. Efforts to meet with the residents and give them an opportunity to learn about the workings of municipal government and hopefully have some questions and concerns answered were served by your generosity. Sincerely, yours truly, Carl R.A. Wright. And I want to thank the township manager for coming, because he was the keynote of the evening. So again, thank you, Mr. Township Manager.
You're
now,
welcome.
also there, we had some of our local council members, and they provided the color for us. Councilman Kramer, Councilman Jimmy Prasad, he came late. Councilman Vessanella came first, and Councilman Prasad came after. I had to get that kind of mixed up there. But I want to thank them for coming also and giving light. Now, we have one other thing, and that's very important.
Oh, my God.
It's important because it involves cancer. I'm a cancer survivor, so this is definitely near and dear to me. The Sisters Network of Central New Jersey, which are here in Franklin Township, they're having a breast cancer bazaar featuring Jazz Trio on the lawn on Saturday, May the 2nd, 2015, from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., starring the No Name Band. It's a good time for everyone to come out. The admission is free. Lots of food, bargains, and fun. So please come out and support the Sisters Network and its breast cancer survivor group, and that is most important. That's why I bring it up. Which leads me to our Deputy Mayor, Kimberly Francois. She was at the Sisters Network 15th Annual Health Fair that they had, and she was there to present two plaques to the Men on a Mission Award as a board member. Ms. Francois is a newly elected board member to Sisters Network, and if she wants to just give me a quick 30-second overview, that will end my entire council comments.
Wow. It was a phenomenal event. They had it over on at the Hyatt Regency, and the Sisters Network, it was their 15th annual health summit, and they provided a whole lot of health screening opportunities for people, a lot of education awareness on breast cancer. I learned so much that day. I was so touched. They had a entourage of people that came in that were survivors, and they saluted them, and they gave their testimonies, and they gave awards to different people throughout the community. And when I was asked to be on the board, I kind of felt like my cup runneth over and I have a lot to do, and I really didn't want to accept the invitation, but I did. And I kept thinking about the fact that I have 3 cousins that are first cousins, 3 under one of my mother's oldest sister, 3 sisters that have breast cancer. And the week that I was asked to be on the board, one of their daughters was also diagnosed with breast cancer, and she's in her early 30s. And then another one of the sisters from the same mother has breast and ovarian cancer. And I said to myself, you know, this is something that hits so close to home for you. How could you say no? Why wouldn't you want to serve and be a part of an initiative that has such an impact on so many people, including yourself? And so I can honestly say I was there. I was touched. It was an honor to be a presenter in the program and give out some awards. And it was all I could do based on the ambience of the event, not to cry. But it was phenomenal. There was a lot of courage in the room. There was a lot of triumph in the room. But then there was still a lot of sadness. So I think the Sisters Network, they do a wonderful job, and we should do everything we can to support them. They don't make a lot of money, but they do a lot in our community here in Franklin Township. So yes, by all means, come out on this Saturday from 8 to 3 p.m. And they'll have on their lawn at the Sisters House at 1201 Hamilton Street, a bazaar and flea market, and it's a free event. And I will be there. I will be there.
Pretty big lawn, so
Yes.
everybody needs to come out.
Yes. Thank you, Councilman. And I really wasn't going to say anything. I have no comments, Mr. Mayor.
All right. I know we've been running kind of long here, but I just have a few things to say. I know I've only been mayor for a couple of months here, but I know I'm probably going to have a lot of these, one after the other, but I actually had the highlight of being mayor on Monday, going back to the school thing. I was asked to speak to the fourth graders at McAfee Road School about local politics. And they were very excited. It's just mayor of a small town. It's not, the president or anything like that, but they had an assembly, and they were very curious about what a mayor does, what a mayor can't do, what the council does, what the manager does, what the chief of police does, how we all interact, how we're elected, how we are appointed in the case of some people. They were very confused by that one, much like everybody else in town. But they were charming, and they were so well behaved and just such nice kids. I had a kind of an embarrassing moment there. My mother brought over, she's cleaning out her house, and she brought over some old pictures of me from kindergarten when I was at McAfee Road School. So I brought those out for the kids. None of them could pick out who I was, which I thought was good. One of them actually told me I looked very grown up now, so I thought that was kind of an interesting thing. I told her it was close to 40 years since I had been there. I hoped I had grown up a little bit. But I will probably pass out some questions to the other council members. They had a lot of questions that I didn't have time to answer, but I said I'm sure everybody would be very interested to see the type of questions that our fourth graders they came up with. So like I said, that was definitely the highlight. And this is the 50th anniversary of McAfee Road School. So if anybody out there went to McAfee Road School, they're looking for kind of archived old pictures, old mementos of the high school, and they said they were going to have some type of showing or showcase of these items later on in the year. One thing I see a fundraiser for the food bank out there in the audience, and I do have a bone to pick with them. The 62-mile Tour de Franklin last week actually measured 63.5 miles. So there was a bonus mile and a half out there. It was quite an event. They said something like there were 660-ish riders registered for it. They raised approximately $64,000 at the $66,000. Okay. I stand corrected. When I left, it was at 64,000. Wow. That's great. So it was quite an event. If anybody cares, I did it in 3 hours, 39 minutes, just under 18 miles an hour. I actually had to take a few stops for some potholes out on Canal Road, which will remain unnamed. Speaking of bike riding, right after the walk and roll on Canal Road, starting right here in the municipal complex on May 20th at 7 p.m., there is what is called the Ride of Silence. It's an international event for recognizing cyclists or pedestrians that were either or both, hit and killed by cars, trucks, buses. The police force and the manager and the chief of police have been very gracious in offering help and support with this. It's about an 8.5-mile ride, very slow. Like I said, starts from the senior center, 6:45. Be ready to ride on May 20th. As a person that's been hit 3 times by a car, I highly recommend being very visible out there. This Sunday is a fundraiser for the animal shelter, Second Chance for Animals. It is Paws for a Cause, the walk in Colonial Park. I think it starts at 11 o'clock. At least 2 of the 3 Kelly dogs will be there. One of them is a little under the weather right now. Speaking of him being under the weather, getting back to thanking the police officers, my one dog had surgery yesterday, so that's why he's under the weather. But I was out in the parking lot of my veterinarian's office, and Officer Gambino was sitting there in his police cruiser, and he saw me walking around with my dog, and he kind of got out, and we chatted a little bit, and he had, much like everybody else in town, had no idea I was the new mayor. But he was so nice and charming, and when I actually told him I was the mayor, he was kind of taken aback, and he was just so nice and pleasant and polite with me just being a general member of the public. I was very, very impressed with them. And then the final note, one thing, just to kind of toot my own horn a little bit. When I was on the Open Space Committee for the county, I helped, along with several other people, write the paperwork and the model for the Blue Acres funds. And actually, what it is, it's a program for the state, FEMA, and county to use some of their open space money to purchase flood-prone houses. And what I learned actually just the other day, it was first implemented, and I believe 20 or so houses in Manville were just purchased. 20 or so. I'm not sure of the exact amount.
It's about that number, Mr. Mayor.
So it is actually working, and it seems to be working very well. So that said, I am done with my comments.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilman Kramer?
How long did it take you to finish the 62 miles?
Roughly 3 hours, 39 minutes.
See, I launched the 40-mile one, and it took me 0 time.
I was actually going to comment about that I heard rumors of Councilman Kramer being there, but I did not see him or a bike present.
That is correct. Congratulations to actually, to Mayor Kelly's credit, I saw an email that he sent. I don't know if he was true to his word, but he intended at least to do about 20 miles before he got there because the 62 miles wasn't enough. So kudos to you, Mayor.
Thank you. I was actually a little short. I did 5 before it and 15 afterwards. So it balanced out in the end.
Mayor, just to your comment about what a mayor does, I'd just like to tell a short story.
Go right ahead.
General Johnson of Johnson & Johnson owned the only political office he ever held was mayor of Highland Park. Mm-hmm. And at that time, he was holding a black tie dinner at his house when he got a phone call from an irate resident saying that her trash hadn't been picked up. So he goes in his car, picks up her trash, puts it in his trunk, and comes back. So that's the standard of performance of what a mayor does. But after that, he stopped political office altogether.
I think I'll have to get a bigger car. Now on to the township manager's report.
Actually, Mr. Mayor, thank you. I only have one thing, and that is just to request all council members, tomorrow I will be sending to your email accounts a link to the online training and the directions for the online training for your annual GIF training for risk management. This year, we'll do the training rather than having someone here and having to come in an hour early for a council meeting. There is online training now available. That'll enable us to collect our $250 per council member and manager who also has to do it. It takes just slightly under an hour, and it just have to have it done by June 1st. So check your email. If you have any questions, then just reach out for me. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Okay. Warrants in the amount of $13,535,750.45 on April 28, 2015 are presented to the Township Council for payment.
I move that the
Motion
warrant
for
be read and
payment.
paid.
Second.
Okay. Ginny, can you please poll the council?
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kelly?
Yes.
Councilman Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilman Regan? Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Okay. Ordinance number 4103-15, an ordinance amending the Renaissance 2000 redevelopment plan, codified in the Municipal Code of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, more particularly, Chapter 112, Land Development, Article 35, regarding permitted uses within the Renaissance Commercial District.
I move to open the meeting for public discussion on this ordinance.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. This meeting is open for public discussion on the ordinance. Anyone interested in speaking, please raise your hand, and when recognized, give your name and address.
Mr. Mayor, seeing no one come forward, I move we close.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.
Motion for passage.
Second.
Ms. Woodbury, will you poll the council?
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kelly?
Yes.
Councilman Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Ordinance number 4106-15, an ordinance amending the code of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, more particularly, Chapter 354, Telecommunications Services, New Appendix, Article 11, Promotion and Motion, Inc., Schoolhouse Road and Cottontail Lane.
I move the motion for first reading.
Second.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. This meeting is open for public discussion on this ordinance. Anyone interested in speaking, please raise your hand, and when recognized, give your name and address.
Mr. Mayor, this is a first reading.
There's no public. It's just an adoption. I mean,
Okay.
introduction.
Okay. Okay. All righty.
You did the first reading.
On my agenda, it's a first reading.
You just need to poll,
Introduction first.
need to poll the council. It's the first, it is a first reading.
First reading.
Yes, it is.
is on the agenda, but it's not on the mayor's agenda.
It's a first reading. Yeah.
Yeah,
First reading,
first
okay.
reading, yeah.
All right. Sabotage again. Okay.
Not on his, though.
The practical joking continues.
Yeah.
Okay. Items A through O, as listed on the consent agenda portion of this meeting, are presented to the Township Council.
No, we have to poll the
No, yeah.
council on the vote.
Right, we have to vote.
We
on
need to
the
poll
first
the
reading.
council.
We have
Was
to
there a
vote on
motion?
the...
Was there a motion and a second?
Yes.
I moved
Yeah,
it,
well,
and
then
it
we
was
have to
seconded.
vote.
We had a voice vote, though.
Okay.
Ms. Woodbury.
Ms. Woodbury, will you poll the council?
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kelly?
Yes.
Councilman Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Councilman Wright.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Good.
Okay. Now, the items A through O, as listed on the consent agenda portion of this meeting, are presented to the Township Council for adoption.
Motion for passage.
Second.
I'm going to
Ms. Woodbury, will you poll the council?
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kelly?
Yes.
Councilman Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Executive session.
Are there any nominations for boards, committees, or commissions? Seeing none, okay. Resolution 15-163, authorize executive session, attorney-client privilege, COA fair share plan, contract negotiations, open space negotiations, Bennett's Lane, personnel, township manager's review.
So moved.
Seconded.
Ms. Woodbury, will you poll the council?
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kelly?
Yes.
Councilman Kramer? Yes. Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
At this time, the Township Council will adjourn to executive session to discuss attorney-client privilege, COA fair share plan, contract negotiation, open space negotiations, Bennett's Lane, and personnel, township manager's review. No other action will be taken by this Township Council at the conclusion of this executive session, and therefore the recording of this meeting will end now.